I like Boulevardiers, you like Boulevardiers, everybody likes Boulevardiers. And before I get too far into it, if you don't know, the Boulevardier is the Negroni's badass cousin, which swaps the gin for bourbon. I mean, there's a little more to it than that. I'll get to that later. But by replacing the gin, the characteristic herbaceousness of the venerable, and maybe a little trendy, Negroni is replaced with those woody vanilla notes in bourbon, which also tastes great when paired with sweet vermouth and Campari. Put another way, the flavor of this drink absolutely slaps, making it a popular go-to not just for bartenders, but for career drinkers as well. And given how popular this drink is, I'd normally skip straight to the bill, but just in case there's someone out there for whom the description Negroni with bourbon isn't enough, here's what you need to make a Boulevardier. Bourbon, Campari, and sweet vermouth. Now, I did say this drink is essentially a Negroni with bourbon, but while most bartenders will make a Negroni in equal parts, this drink cannot be made the same way. With bourbon being less bracing than gin, the proportions will have to be manipulated to maintain balance. With that in mind, here's how you make this. To your glass, add 3/4 of an ounce each of Campari and sweet vermouth and 1.5 ounces of bourbon. Add the biggest ice you have, give it a stir, and garnish with an expressed orange peel. Couldn't be easier. In a word, punchy. The balance of Campari and sweet vermouth is there, but the bourbon is front and center. And yes, you can use rye. In fact, I don't see why you can't use any whiskey you like. One of the best Boulevardiers I ever had was with Auchentoshan, so if you have a large whiskey selection, go ahead and get experimenting. But this video isn't just about this drink. It's also about how mind-bogglingly easy it is to improve. All you need is something wet, sticky, oily, and smelly. Yes, I'm talking about coffee beans. French roast if you got them, the oilier the better. Let's get to it. Step 1, bust out your mixing glass. A normal Boulevardier can be built or stirred, this one cannot. Use the same ingredients as you would normally, but before stirring, add a heaping teaspoon of coffee beans. This tweak was invented by French bartender Nico de Soto, and it works in almost any cocktail that's stirred and brown. And side note, stirred drinks that are served down should be understirred. I have a lot to say about stirring technique, but that's a topic for another video. Finish as you would normally, and this hits different. First, this is not a coffee bomb. It is there, but just barely. In fact, depending on how much of a caffeine addict you are, you might not know that this had coffee in it until someone told you. But once you know it's there, it's unmistakable. And depending on your taste, you can adjust the amount of beans up or down to your liking. And as far as the guy who invented this hack, Nico's a big shot and will likely never see this, but Nico, if you're out there, this is amazing. Thank you. And it doesn't stop with this drink. As I said before, we'll work with most drinks that are stirred and brown, so next time you make yourself an aromatic cocktail, give this a whirl. You'll be glad you did. If you like what I do, subscribe and tell your friends. Cheers.
Turn camera.